Hey, welcome to my Facebook Live. Not so live today. Sorry, I am not live. This is Zoom recorded. I would love to be live with you, but I'm probably getting off a plane right now in Colorado with my 14-year-old son, who is playing in soccer nationals. He's going to be in this 4-day tournament. I'm flying out there with him. I'm so excited. So sorry not to be with you, but I couldn't miss my chance to do a mindset Facebook break, we'll call it, since it's not live, about mindset. And today we're doing this really cool book, Money, a Love Story. I am so excited to share this with you. Have you ever read a book where you just will not stop talking about it and people are like, enough already with that book. We get it. It's important. We'll read it. That's me with this book, because I know that everything in our lives comes from what we think, not what we do. All the actions we take are because of what we think. And money, no different. I have so many women who come to me saying, Julia, I'd like to make more money. Julia, I want my business to grow. Julia, I want to take cool vacations and buy nice stuff. And I'm always like, we got to start with how you feel about money. Because if you don't love money, money is not going to love you back. And I'm not talking about the love money like I like to buy Prada bags. I'm talking about really getting good with what's the value you bring to the world, what are you worth, being able to charge for it, knowing that you have a great relationship with money and you're letting it into your life. And this all may sound very woo-woo, but stay with me because this is the mindset break. Next week we'll do hard business. So today we're going to do Money, a Love Story. And before we do, I am going to take my shot. So let's see what Laura has for us today. I really hope it's tasty because sometimes it's gross. See what this is. Mm. Mm, mm, mm. Mm. What was that? It's green. I think it's like a green juice with vodka in it. Like healthy, but vodka. That's kind of, did I get that right? I kind of did, yes. I know my stuff. All right, that was the first ever kale and cucumber vodka shot. It's actually not bad. You could try that at home sometime. Get your vitamins and your alcohol all at once. All right, money, let's do this thing. So this book I read at a time that I was moving from scarcity to abundance thinking about money. And that is really your first key step if you want to make more money in your life, is to recognize where you have scarcity thinking around money. And we all have it to some degree or another, because we all grew up in homes that gave us certain messages about money. Maybe your mom always went around saying like, well, money doesn't grow on trees. Or maybe your dad said things like, well, you can have that, but only if you make a lot of money. I don't want to be spending money before you make money. Maybe people said things like, you got to work really, really hard or you'll never get a dime. People just said all kinds of things to you in your home that you probably never unpacked, but that have a deep influence on how you feel about money. And as a result, how money feels about you. So what Kate Northrup does for us in this great book is help us identify what is our money story, because we all have one. She talks about these voices in our head that keep us from actually reaching our full potential sometimes around money, because we heard things like money's dirty, or people who make a lot of money are jerks, or I don't deserve to make a lot of money. It's different for everyone. But until you identify what that money story is and get a handle on it, you're unlikely to change it. Now, Kate went very vulnerable here and shared her story about being $20,000 in debt and how awful that felt. She was working and living in New York and actually had a business partnership with her mother, but it was going south and she was spending money she didn't have and she just didn't feel in control of her money. And I could really relate to that because she talked about not wanting to look at her bank statements and just hoping things would magically all work out, even though she kept buying like designer clothing and putting all this stuff on her credit card that she knew somewhere in her body she could not afford, but she just kept doing it. And I remember in the years when I had little Pim in the early days, and I didn't want to look at the finances. I just was like, well, can't somebody else do that? I just want to do the marketing and the fun part and the strategy and the products. And I had my head in the sand like an ostrich about the finances. Well, that did not go well, a little Pim, and it did not go well for Kate either, where eventually this all caught up with her, and she had to figure out a way how to not only get out of debt, but get into a place where she could start generating the kind of money she wanted to live on and live the big, exciting life she wanted to live, and that she deserved to live, and that we all deserve to live. So what's the first step? Get clear on what your money story is. And that's easier said than done, right? So Kate has some really great exercises in here. And hey, by the way, I'm going to read you the introduction because she had me at the introduction. Anyone who says they don't have money issues is lying. Or perhaps they're simply delusional. Money is so omnipresent in our lives and yet so rarely discussed on a deeper level that we don't even understand the influence it has on us. You see, the thing about money is that it's a stand-in for something else. In essence, we trade money for what we want, for things that in our eyes have a certain value. The economy is simply a system of value exchange. That's it. Money in and of itself is nothing. It's what money represents that makes the whole shebang a little complex. For some, money is a stand-in for love. For others, it's a stand-in for comfort, or joy, or pleasure. And for others, money is a stand-in for happiness. And this assigning of value brings with it all the emotions of any relationship. That, my friends, is why I titled this book, Money, a Love Story. Doesn't she have you hooked? She totally had me hooked at that. And the tone of the book is so easy to read. If you've ever picked up a book on money, trying to get more educated or get a better handle on your finances and then just put it down 20 pages in because it's like, I can't read about another index fund and cumulative interest and all that stuff. Well, this book doesn't do any of that. This is all about how do you change your attitudes around money so that you can start pursuing financial abundance and financial security with incredible energy and joy and make it happen. So here's something she talks about doing is having a money love journal. I love this. She says, we're about to launch into the next layer of awareness. Start to listen, identify, and decode the voices in your head in regard to money. Nobody ever asked you to do that before, right? Brilliant. Begin to listen to your repetitive thoughts about money. You'll find that many of them are not actually being said in your voice. Now write down what you heard people, generally adults, saying about money when you were growing up. Begin to notice how many times throughout the day you say these exact things. And I know from coaching women in the $1 Million Women community that these things stay with you for a lifetime. I know that I grew up with a single mom and she was always worried about whether we'd have enough. So I grew up with this feeling of scarcity. Even though we were living in New York City, we were arguably the 1% of the 1%. Not arguably, we were the 1% of the 1%. But I still grew up with this idea of like, it could all run out, or maybe it's not going to be enough. And that will really prevent you from going forward with abundance, taking the kind of risks you need to take. So I got so much out of doing the exercises in this book and moving from scarcity to abundance. The other part about this book that I love is that she has you figure out how to make a really simple budget based on these categories that she has here. So if you are operating right now without a personal budget, she'll help you create one. And she'll help you dream out a whole new money story that might have very little to do with the story you've told to date. In my own case, I started working when I was 13 because I was so nervous that we just wouldn't have enough. I started babysitting. I started working at delis after school. I took nanny jobs in the summer. And so my story was a lot about just working all the time. Well, we know that to get ahead, you need to work smart, not hard, right? That's one of the things I teach. So I had to really get rid of this ingrained money story that the only way to get ahead was to work so hard all the time. That's not true. If you look at the most successful people, they're actually working smart. They found strategies to build their businesses and to live their lives where they're just doing the things they're really gifted and great at and have amazing teams around them to do the rest. But it all starts with you and understanding your money story. So I highly encourage you to go out and grab a copy of this book and rewrite your money story so that you can have one that you will feel super energized by and be very ready to go pursue a whole new attitude with money and bring in so much abundance into your life. Please tell me how that goes after you do it. I want to hear your stories, and I will see you next time when we do a business book. Wish my son luck in his soccer tournament. I'll keep you posted. Follow me at Julia Pimsleur. Take care. Have a great day, and I'll see you guys next week. Bye.